Welcome to the hunting ground, where business gets real. This is Into the Lion's Den, where we build smarter, lead harder, and protect what matters most. With your host, Christian Griffith. Let's get to work.
All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Into the Lion's Den with one of my very favorite co-hosts and friends, Mr. Crew Porter, a.k.a. Crouton, a.k.a. Captain Muscles McGee. Captain, he's better than you at everything. The man.
He's freestyling. That's pretty good.
And always me here, Christian, owner of Pride Roofing Construction. This video is brought to you proudly by Pride Roofing Construction and LVL Creative Studios. Can you give us a cat round?
No.
Billy gave a good one the last time. It was like a cat in heat. He's like,
Oh.
like, all right, this is a good one. So, all right. So, Crew, you have been on here before. So, some of the audience knows you, some of them don't. Why don't you just give a brief overview of you? What makes Crew tick?
Well, no, I'm going to say, if you want to know, you got to go watch the last podcast.
I like that answer.
More views on that. But Director of Operations, been here since the beginning. So helped build all this stuff, and it's been
a wild ride.
It's been a ride, yeah.
And
it just keeps getting more and more fun. So.
Oh yeah. Well, didn't give me any good routes to go down here, so I'm just going to jump into the.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I didn't know what the format was for this one. Lachlan kind of told me, when Billy came in here last week. Using some of the old interview videos and whatever that we had before. But I was hoping that you caught me on a casual Friday.
Yeah.
For one.
Let's do the business after hours.
Yeah, I made the Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit reference with me lacking the shave and a haircut. But so you got me like that. And then obviously us going to Red Rocks last night. I was hoping we'd be a little bit more fired up for this one than last time.
Well, look, get us fired up. Tell us a good story. Tell us something.
Well, I had some caffeine today, which I don't usually do.
Shit, yeah.
I had to sneak and get a quick 30-minute pump at the gym on my lunch break. Thinking, just be like, let's get the gears turning and have a little bit more mental clarity to talk some bullshit. So,
Crew is hyped up.
I'm trying to.
Crew you don't drink caffeine.
No, I don't.
So the fact that you had caffeine is like today is a 1 in a million type of day.
Right. Well, I had somebody say that I don't drink caffeine, and then for some reason it turned into a contest with somebody that works here. I won't say his name, but he's a very competitive guy. He's like, well, I don't drink caffeine either, but I'm like, well, you take stimulants, you're just zinning all day. So I don't know if that's totally off the table. But he's like, well, you take pre-workout. And I'm like, well, I didn't know we were competing on who takes the least caffeine. I go, but for your information, I don't take pre-workout because pre-workout for some people makes them work out longer, harder. Me, it's
like heart stuff.
I'm really like sensitive to it. So if I take some pre-workout, I'm alert, but I do not want to work out.
Yeah, I don't think I drink any caffeine whatsoever. I mean, other than like soda as a kid or something until I was a senior in college. But that was the peak of my. Let's test the maxes on how hard I can party and still pass my classes. So it was by necessity.
Well, I love that. You got into that last night saying like, I got my first semester in college. Like, no one is here to study. So some of the stories you were telling me, I was like, oh man, it was that bad. You literally were on the brink of like, I'm out of here. I'm transferring. Let's try the party scene for once. And
then I took that ship and I sailed it across the ocean.
I mean, that's the classic story of straight edge and then blowing it out way too hard once you get to college. Because that's usually you hear it's like.
Yeah, I've made my mistakes. Pastors' kids, PKs. Yeah, I was a pastor's kid. My mom was a youth group pastor and stuff. So, no straight edge, and then got a little crazy. But no, I didn't even think about this until just now. I didn't notice that I started drinking caffeine my senior year in college. I also started losing my hair my senior year in college. It's the first time I ever noticed hair falling out while I was trying to make it through being haggard and still studying for classes. I'd rub my hair and I'd see hair falling out. So I wonder if there's something.
Is that correlated?
I don't know.
Lachlan, you looked that up? Bring that up.
Bring that up, Jamie. Just kidding. So, all right. Well, we won't do the business after hours too much. We'll stick to the script on what's up.
Wait, hair falling out for what exactly? Sorry, I am
For
Caffeine.
caffeine. You think he'd be bald by now if that
Yeah, I
was
was
the
gonna
case.
say.
Yeah. Well, I know I know mostly genetic, but there are things that drive hair to fall out. You know.
I think this guy, he's doing like 5 grams of caffeine, not milligrams.
Grams.
He's
Yeah.
at 5 G's a day, I think.
Yeah. You got to have at least 500 milligrams of caffeine, something like that. Yeah. This guy drinks pot after pot after pot with like maybe a sip of
Yeah, well, I'm saying
actual water in between.
It's 5,000 milligrams.
Oh, 5,000. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Holy shit.
Well, he's
Are you okay?
Yes, it said it can because it apparently raises some of the hormone levels to contribute to telogen effluvium,
Telogen effluvium.
Yeah.
Telogen effluvium.
temporary hair
Chloroform.
shedding.
More like boroform. Am I right?
Chlorophyll, that's right. Chlorophyll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, chlorophyll, borophyll.
Unless you've had alopecia, if you have alopecia, then yes, it will increase the likelihood of losing your hair.
Yeah, I wasn't that self-aware. So, all right. Well, anyways, I have been losing my hair for about almost 2 decades. About as long as I've been drinking caffeine. So if that means anything, maybe don't drink as much caffeine as I do. But all right, so Crew is juiced up. He's ready to answer some questions. So we're going to spin back into our series that we've been talking about. As always, I'm gonna promote my man Simon Sinek here. One of my favorite authors, one of my favorite speakers. Absolutely just a magician with the way he articulates certain things and how he can blend leadership with behavioral sciences to give you real reasons behind driving behavior, why people buy into leaders, so on and so forth. So with Starts With Why series, we've been interviewing different people on the team, not only to get them introduced to our community of followers and listeners, but also to kind of figure out what it is that makes you tick and why it is that you've allowed yourself to align yourself in your professional growth pattern with Pride Roofing and Construction. So we'll get into the nitty gritty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a couple of, there's 3 sections of questions. I'll ask you 3 questions per section. You can answer any of them or all of them. As a salesperson, you're probably smart enough to be able to blend your answer to 3 questions in one, or just pick one that makes the most amount of sense. But most people can pivot on their feet pretty well if they've been working in communications for a long time. Is there going to be a test?
Yeah.
Is this pass fail?
Sure.
So we're going to start first on the personal journey and commitment section. So I'll ask you 3 questions. My intention is to try to drive a little deeper to the real why factor. So if there's anything that not necessarily superficial, but I can tell that there's more depth to it, I'm going to want to ask a few questions toward that. We'll just have a little bit of banter back and forth. We'll learn a little about you, and then we'll close the video up.
Okay.
So, all right. So personal journey and commitment. Question number 1. Crew, you've been with Pride Roofing and Construction for a long time, like you said, from the beginning, back in the good old living room days in Longmont. 4 houses down from where your apartment was? Larkspur, baby. What initially drew you to the company, and what's kept you here all these years? That's question number 1. Question number 2. How has your understanding of your personal why evolved during this time? So what are has it changed at all, and when, how has it evolved? Number 3, can you share a pivotal moment in your career here that really defined your role or purpose?
All right, well, let's start with the money
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
It's a combination of the money and then getting back outside.
Mhm.
So I had worked for a winery for about 9 years, and so I was outside doing landscaping, working in vineyards, doing events that we had a big 40 by 100 Genesis tent, so I did all the receptions and stuff like that. And then I went from being outdoors to indoors, being in a gym for 14 hours a day. And I think my last year in the gym, I made like $29,000.
Mhm.
And I was working I ended up just working solely at one gym, but there was a time that I was working at 3 gyms at the same time. One was the same company. So I was working at one gym and then 2 locations of another one. And then I also had my own like online stuff that I was trying to do. Not super independent, but it was a cool idea that was kind of like, they talked about it like it was like Uber for gyms, where you didn't have to have any commitment. You had gyms that would sign up. So you could go on this website, pick your gym, pick your trainer, and you didn't have to have a membership because they were just involved in this company. So it's
Okay.
like 3 gyms at the same time and doing independent, and I still only made
$29,000.
$29,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I got to do something else.
Mhm.
I was like 30 years old, living in renting a basement room from some tech kid's house who was like 22 and played League of Legends all day and owned this house. I'm like, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I gotta figure this out. And then he would just rip dabs all day. I'm like, how are you? Anyway, I'm like, apparently I need to start smoking weed, I guess, in order to be successful. But
Yeah, I guess that's the key to success in the 21st
that's,
century.
yeah, I'm like, that's all you got to do. You just got to be chill, I guess.
Mhm.
But so it was the money, and then getting back outside,
Mhm.
you know, not being stuck under that gym ceiling for 14 hours a day.
Sure.
And then, you know, a big, like, why, what this kind of turned into was really just having so much fun,
Mhm.
you know, and it was one where in the beginning you think you are going to like the independence. And then I didn't do so well with that because I needed some structure
Mhm.
behind me and like have that schedule, you know, because I'm used to like having that set reps, rest periods, you know, everything like that, very
You
structured.
couldn't tell.
Yeah, right. And then, oh, cool, now I can do whatever I want.
Mhm.
But then you say, I have to go out there and get my own work.
Mhm.
And so you start to panic a bit there or doubt your ability. But then once it started rolling and I was really buying into this, here's the process, it's going to work. Just go out there and knock the doors and it's inevitable. You're going to have success.
Mhm.
And then it started to be where I'm just having fun.
Mhm.
So it's much more enjoyable. Now I had fun in the gym. I had there's a lot of friends I still keep in contact with and hang out with and all that stuff. But you know, that it was similar culture of making friends in this industry and then within this company. But then everything was not so serious. But then that also morphed into becoming a professional
Mhm.
and, you know, maybe not having so much of the imposter syndrome, or you're checking out in the grocery line and the cashier calls you sir.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit. Like, you know, like when did that happen? You know?
Who?
Yeah. Like, what's going on?
Nobody's behind me.
So, you know, with all that was like money, having fun, and then kind of really becoming a professional.
Mhm.
And it's I guess that's kind of a fancy way of saying an adult too,
Yeah.
you know. But that was nice, kind of figuring out life, and then just having a better understanding of the world and how things go, and I mean, I think that's every day. You're still trying to learn that type of stuff, but
Certainly.
it felt good to know that, hey, I'm becoming a professional, becoming an expert in my field, and kind of, you know, building some more confidence and respect within my peers and,
Mhm.
you know, and I guess not necessarily community, but just walking around and holding your head high.
Sure. So would you say, based off what I'm hearing, the main reason for the transition from the fitness and health industry into roofing and construction started first with money and also change of scenery, getting outside? I feel that one. I remember being inside on the blacktop and in our gyms that I ran. It was neon green or neon yellow paint on all the walls, purposely put there so that people would get headaches, so they wouldn't stay long enough very long, so you could pack in more members and
Wow.
not have them in there as long.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was part of the whole scheme. But, anyways, so I had to get used to neon walls, steamy people, and gym bros.
Yeah.
Gym gals, you know, all that good stuff.
Steamy
Yeah. So, but anyway, so it started with that, but it sounds like it's evolved. The why factor has evolved into not only building your professional career and becoming an expert and separating yourself as more of a subject matter expert or whatever, but also being able to relay that into and utilize that to build people around you. Would you say that's kind of what that evolution that you talked about was?
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of you know, feel good part,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of lets you know that it's not all just fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that part of it kind of is what it is too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you enjoy that aspect where, you know, for, you know, what's the phrase, like work hard, play hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it all becomes about like I'm just having a good time.
Yep.
All the time now.
Well, that's one of the weirdest things. Some of the most successful organizations, when you walk in, it's an inherently positive place, and people are having a lot of fun. It pays to be a winner when
Yeah.
you start growing and you start learning how to do your job well, and you start to be able to have fun with each of the individual components, even though some of them are not that fun, right? Logging or creating project handoffs and writing you know, million estimates and, you know, following up with clients sometimes is not that much fun. But you understand what the goal is behind it, and you become so successful at it that you're knowing the right ways to get through it. You're having more fun because you're capturing more time with the efficiencies you created. And then, well, you get to reap the benefits of the success, whether it's monetarily or whether it's just the culture and the environment they're in. We're in a room with a bunch of winners, and all of a sudden things start to feel a lot better.
Kind of a catch-22 though.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, I don't know if I'm even using that right.
Sure.
But now time flies.
Oh yeah.
You know, like when you weren't really enjoying what you were doing, or if you're like, you know, if even like you're in school and it's like not your favorite thing, and it seemed like time was moving so slow, just crawling. And now it's like you're having fun all the time, and it's just
you blink and it's 2026.
Yeah. It's already Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what happened to the week?
Mm-hmm.
Cause
it is a catch-22.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, because it's like you're enjoying it in the moment, but it's passing you faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's what's that? Einstein relativity, right?
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Like, and I've talked to friends, like I have, you know, and it's, you see where you've come to, not just within this organization, but your professional and personal life is like a lot of the, I don't want this to sound like snobby or pretentious, where I also hang out with others, like successful people, you know, that I would consider successful, certainly compared to others maybe I've spent time with in my past. But all these guys are, you know, these guys and girls are doing really well. And so I asked a good friend of mine, he's a New York friend, and he's been out here for quite a while, but he owns his own company. He races motocross. It was just last Saturday. He bought a stock car and then just raced it. He just bought it on like a Tuesday. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm buying a race car. I go, you race cars too? He goes, I do now. We went down and watched his race. I think he actually got third in his race.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked him that same question. I was like, does the time go fast now? Because it seems like you're always doing fun shit and you kind of have everything together. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, it just blazes by.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody that I hang out with who also seems to be enjoying what they do leisurely and what they do professionally, and they're in the same mindset as far as like we're just cruising through life now. So
yeah,
it's fun, but it also sucks because it's
let's
going
slow
too
it down.
fast.
Let's slow it down a little bit. Click, dude. That movie Click with Adam Sandler. You watched that one?
Yeah.
That movie had me in tears.
Yeah.
Like literally just like sobbing, crying. But I was like, it feels like that sometimes. Like I've accidentally pressed fast forward. We're on 2x mode, and I'm like, I'm missing out, but I'm not actually missing out. But I just want to repeat the good time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, thank God that they wrapped that up. They ended that nicely.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert! If you haven't seen
Happy
Click,
ending.
yeah, great ending. But absolutely bawling the first time I watched that. I was like, I feel for you. So, but anyways, okay. So, getting back into the pieces, I just want to. I'm trying to digest and regurgitate some of the information so we can carry down some rabbit holes. So what do you think, was it just the dichotomy, I guess, of you being 29 years old, feeling like you're working constantly, but not necessarily making somewhere, and seeing somebody casually make it through life that owned the house that you were renting? Was that the trigger point to wanting the more money and getting outside, or was there more to that?
That's tough, because it seems like it was inevitable that I was not going to be a loser. Maybe other people would disagree that I am a loser.
I don't think so.
But it was the same, you know, we had this like do your homework conversation stuff where I was never very good in school, but I always did my homework. So I always put in the work, and maybe I wasn't the best test taker. I think that's, people don't really like that. They go, you're just an idiot who didn't study. Maybe, but it was just doing all that stuff, and you're not going to lose, you know, and maybe you won't, you know, I'm not getting straight A's or, you know, whatever other example you want to use, where I'm not exactly a millionaire or I'm not doing the best. I don't know that anybody ever feels like that they're reaching or exceeding their potential, but, which I certainly don't, but I feel like I'm doing better than average. Yeah. So I always felt like there was no way that I was just going to lose. Yeah. So I had to keep stepping up. There's no way I was going to go down. Yeah. You know, like I refused to fail. Yeah. And maybe you could look at me not staying in the fitness industry as a failure. But I never went from like, okay, I live with my mom, to living renting a house with friends to moving to Colorado, renting a place. And then I didn't go from there and all of a sudden, oh, I got fired. Now I'm on the street.
Yeah.
It was always kind of leveling up some way, even if it was just one step up. I was always trying to keep going up.
Sure.
And I was talking about this the other day. I think it was, I talked with somebody about it, and I kind of talked with you about it, where even coming off of a decent week, immediately, like that Friday or Monday morning, I was like, I got to do more. I mean, I can't keep doing this. And so maybe that's part of it is I'm a little bit more clear on projecting the future or seeing, further down the line, whether it's the week, month, year, 5 years, whatever. I don't think that, as I got older, I started to see further and further ahead. Because when you're real young, you
only really see to the next party or the next fun experience.
Not even. It's like, if something happens that day, it's the end of the world.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let me dive into one thing that you said. So when I worked in the gym industry, when I switched from front end operations, membership sales, and management of the facilities over to personal training sales, we were taught that we weren't allowed to start asking for the sale for the package that we were trying to get this person set up for until we've gone 3 levels deep. That was the goal, the motto. You need to be at least 3 levels deep before we start going in. And it was based off of this concept. This was well before this book was written. But it's getting a true why. Somebody will give you a superficial answer first. We need to get a little bit more depth. And then we need to get that emotionally tied answer before we actually start asking for the sale. So for instance, in that, now I'll weave back over and explain what I'm going at, because I want to talk about the refusal to fail, like that's built inside of you, but I want to go a little deeper on that piece. So in the gym, for instance, if you're sitting there with, let's say it's a, overweight mother of 3 who was in her prime and is missing her old body from when she was high school and college, but then she had kids and things didn't work out and she fell out of things and whatever, right? We're sitting there with her and you say, well, okay, so what are your goals? And they'll be like, well, I want to lose 30 pounds or 20 pounds, whatever it is you think. And so we'll pin the 3 most important ones and then just stick with one of the routes, right? And we say, okay, so why do you want to lose 30 pounds? What is 30 pounds going to do for you? And they're like, well, just don't feel the same as I used to. I don't feel sexy. I don't feel this, I'm soggy, whatever. Right. And you're like, why don't you feel sexy? Right. And then you hit a trigger point. They're like, my husband doesn't look at me the same way. I catch him staring at other women the way he used to look at me. And now I'm worried about what's going to happen in the future. That's the why factor. That's the one that we're going to carry into. We're going to build our whole presentation off of that, right? So that's 3 levels deep. So if we're going into the 3 levels deep conversation on refusal to fail, why do you refuse to fail?
Oh man, to get deeper like that, I'm like, first of all, I got caught off guard by why don't you feel sexy? Like that. I was immediately going, that's a great just opening line. You just walk up, you're like, so why don't you feel sexy? Like,
you never started that way. You get slapped.
No. Just started right like that.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't necessarily always ask that question. It's just, I'm trying to pull straight out of the holster here.
But I might say that to my guy friends too. I'm like, so tell me, why don't you feel sexy? I'm like, what are you talking about,
bro?
Well, why do I refuse to fail? I'm not really sure if I've just seen that type of stuff happen, or it just doesn't really make sense to me. It's kind of like making this, the same mistake twice type of thing. Because now I've failed, like, to an extent, let's say like competition wise. First bodybuilding show, didn't place, so I don't know where I fell in that first class, like novice class. But then I was heavyweight and I got 3rd, right? So I was like, oh, you got 3rd. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, out of 3, right?
Okay.
So I got last. And then I did another show and improved, because you could say, well, I still failed if I got, fifth place out of 5 on one class, but then I got first out of 2 in another class. But the physique that I brought the second time definitely would beat the first time.
Yep.
And then the third show, same thing. So you can look at little failures, but also find wins in there too.
Well, and I think when I ask about failure, like I think you and I categorize failure a similar way because we're both athletes. We're both people with similar discipline built into our just into our being and the way that we handle things. Like I was talking about the drinking last night, right? And I'm like, I feel like I failed in that category because I didn't go out on top. I didn't choose to stop drinking because, I had experienced everything I wanted to experience. Now I just want to focus on my health and change things a little bit. I literally hit rock bottom and realized I lost to alcohol. So that's defeat. Yeah. That's loss. And that's one of the things that rubs me the hardest when it comes to that portion, that, alcohol sobriety venture, because I'm like, if I would have had better discipline, if I would have done these things and I was a better man, I would have been able to control myself and not be turned into an absolute monster the second that alcohol touches my lips. Frank the Tank syndrome, you know what I mean? So I failed in that category. So like athletics, I would consider a failure. Somebody competed for a little while and then changed the sport altogether because they realized that this sport was going to need much more discipline than I was willing to give to it before I became exceptional or excellent at the sport. Right. So I don't think that I think that it needs to be measured based off of growth, not necessarily accolades within that growth pattern. Right?
Yeah. But I think that it's hard to even describe where growth is not inevitable in any scenario. So if you try and fail, if you give up, that's probably what it is just giving up and just thinking that you're not good enough and making basically not taking accountability is the only way that you're going to just lose.
Yeah. So level 3, because you just gave me my N. Why do you refuse to admit defeat or tell yourself that you're not good enough? What inside you makes you do that?
I don't know if I'm just saying I'm not good enough, but taking accountability for the reasons, for the reasons why I failed or I'm not. It's not that I'm not good enough, but why am I not good enough? It's because I didn't train hard enough. I didn't study hard enough. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't eat right. I screwed up, whatever it is. Okay, then I'm taking accountability for those mistakes. And so there's still growth happening. So you can't really say that like, oh, I'm just a loser now.
Yeah.
There's got to be reasons to it, and then you got to get back on the horse and overcome it. So I don't know like what the biggest thing was. I guess if I were to say, what would have happened if I never got out of that basement room that I was paying $600 a month for? Eventually he's going to kick me out. I would hope.
You're a bum.
Yeah, it was weird anyway because it was like they were like a young married couple, and I'm just like living in their basement. This is weird.
Yeah. So like things that drive me in the similar nature that we have, which is the refusal to fail. I sometimes say like I'd rather die than quit. I have this thing inside of me that I just can't stop if I've started something. Like alcohol, right into it. but mine stems from things that happened within my childhood, right? My parents, there was a lot of friction and stress in the home because we weren't financially well off at all. My dad would work 3 to 4 jobs on any given segment of time. He was constantly basically sleeping for 2 hours, working 4 different jobs, and not really able to spend any time with us. So he would make promises towards things, but because he had not figured out how to really master any of those individual things, and he was just scraping to make it by, he would always fail to complete whatever task it was or fulfill the promise. And it always broke me inside when that would happen because I was looking forward to some kind of bond or some kind of help to become a man of my own and that kind of stuff. And so when my parents split and I didn't see him for like almost 12 years, I made a commitment inside myself that I am never going to, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm not just going to do it. I'm going to be the best fucking person that's ever done this one thing. And if I'm not that, then I'm going to keep pressing towards that. But it was a stimming thing because I hated how it made me feel in those scenarios.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I mean, I like that. When did you realize that was kind of the reason why you have the mindset?
It took a while for me to really understand it. I remember there was kind of there was a tipping point to my personality changing completely right at it was just after my parents split, and there was a real big actual event that happened that ended with CPS and police and stuff like that. And that's what the reason I didn't see him for a long time was not necessarily because he didn't want to see me. It was because he couldn't see me. And then eventually he stopped trying and stuff like that. But anyways, he's come back and we're mending things and stuff like that. But so I don't want to, hopefully if he sees this, he doesn't get mad at me. But it was a pivotal thing in my life. Yeah. But I remember there was a specific time where we were moving to Iowa because after that happened, my mom couldn't support the house and the kids. And so we lost the house. So we were essentially homeless and we had to move to my grandma's basement. And I had made my mom cry while we were driving out there with all of our stuff because I was just kind of being an idiot. I don't remember exactly what I was doing. But my mom got out of the car. It was in Sterling, Colorado. I remember it was a gas station. And my mom got out of the car. And my brother turned around and he said, "You're just like Dad." I'm about to cry saying that. And it's just like instantaneously, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I switched everything about my life. I started paying attention to things. I was like, what makes the most sense? I'm a kid. How can I not be a burden to my family? How can I progress? How can I be successful? And it's like, and it was as simple as put in the work, dedicate your time, do the homework, show up to practice, go before, go after, give effort, give energy, put in the reps. And I think that's the pathway to success. And ever since then, it's been very different for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think I don't have. See, that's the thing. I'm sure there's probably something like that. I just don't know exactly. Yeah. Can't pinpoint it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it could be something that then gave me some some OCD where I'll do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, even me just now, like where I'm like, let me line this pen up directly over this line. It's shit like that that will force me to do certain things a certain way and keep it as a pattern. Yeah. So I don't know. It's really a little bit on the spectrum. That's probably what it is.
We're all on the spectrum somewhere.
But,
well, and I don't necessarily. If you haven't reflected on this, I've forced myself to reflect on this. So to answer your question, that was a trigger point. I know that was a pivotal point, but I don't think that I really understood the value of the decision that I made at that point until way later in life. I don't think I really digested how much different my life was and why I act the way that I do until probably 25, 30, somewhere in those age ranges and stuff. So, but mine, I've been forced to self-reflect and analyze. That's how you make it through rehab. Yeah. So,
right. I did have somebody say to me one evening, I'm out at their local watering hole, right? Local establishment. And he just, I know the guy, older guy, I don't know him very well, but it's a small town. Everybody kind of knows each other. And then I remember him saying to me, he was like, what are you doing here? Mm-hmm. Not like here, but like, why are you still in Hammondsport? Mm-hmm. He's like, you're not married. You don't have any kids. He's like, what the hell are you doing? And that was definitely one of those times where I was like, oh, okay. Like I remember that going, yeah, you're right.
You're right. Like, what am I doing?
What am I doing? And then because it didn't really make any sense. I had one friend like that kind of got me into weightlifting and stuff. It was like, that was a big, thing that I got sucked into, which was good. But then I'd meet friends and they go, oh, so I'd meet people like, oh, do your friends work out and stuff like that. I'm like, no. No, I had one friend that I got to, appreciate for getting me into that, but that was it. Yeah. Nobody else did it. So it didn't, people are like, wait, what? Like, why? How is that possible? How are you just kind of like the only one who's just consistently doing it?
Sure.
And then I have friends that would say like 10 years later, they go, just still getting after it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's part of life now. Yeah.
So there's a couple things like that,
Yeah.
that if I could think of as kind of triggering
I can see that as a trigger point. Somebody breaking your mind open to like, you have a lot of potential. You should not be
Yeah, it's
sitting
like,
in this
I
spot.
know you're having fun right now. Like, well,
You need to start investing in yourself in the future. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So I'll transition to the next one. What I didn't realize is we have been already on air for 34 minutes. So I didn't think that was 34 minutes. So this is a good conversation. It's been fun so far.
How many are we supposed to get through?
Well, I'll go to the next. I'll go to the next one. We'll see where the time takes us with that one. So we might be a little late for the management.
If we need to do a part 2, we can.
Okay. Well, I guess we could do that too. So we'll cut some of this stuff. This little chatting. Yeah, we can kind of cut that. But I think let's just kind of keep pushing. I think that if we can get into that meeting by 4:10, I think I'll finish the meeting in the right time period. So
yeah, you're about 48 minutes in right now.
You're the boss.
All right. So yeah, let's just make them wait. All right. So next category, the why behind operations. So you found yourself in a role of director of operations. You've pushed yourself into that spot, which we've talked about that whole imposter thing a number of different times, which I tell you to shut your mouth because you're good at it. But anyways, here are your 3 questions. Operations is often behind the scenes. What drives you to make sure everything runs smoothly every day? So that's question number 1. Question number 2. Why do you believe strong operations are critical to delivering the Pride Roofing promise to clients? And number 3, what impact do you hope your work has with both the team and the customers?
It's the same answer for all 3. It's still just money and having fun. You know what I mean? Because you're making a good living, and it's not just me having fun.
Yeah.
But if the operation is running smooth, then everybody's happy.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's making money, making good living. Customers are happy with the product that we're given, and then customers, and staff, everybody's having a good time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, every single thing, it's really what it comes down to. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm here to have a good time.
I'm here. I'm Rod. I party.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the only one who parties.
No, I'm Rod. Yeah. But anyways, no, that's a great answer because it's the truth. The more seamless a process is, the less energy has to go into it, which means you have more energy for the things you actually like doing, right? So you're not only reaping the rewards of a seamless process and high volume of personnel, but you have more time to chop it up with the guys and crack jokes, do your, WWE impersonations or whatever else, right? It allows you the opportunity to be yourself and to be a professional simultaneously, right? So, well, let me ask you this question. So you got the operations position. We've talked a number of times about feeling somewhat like in the imposter syndrome because you didn't go to school for it, but now you're in charge of it. But the reason that you were put there, and I'm going to refer back to your pencil adjusting thing that you were just talking about, your pen adjusting thing, you were put there specifically because I knew that if an operation or process didn't work, it broke your brain more than anybody else's. It stopped you in your tracks, and it was instantaneously you wanted to create a new way to do that thing so you didn't have to feel that way again. Your client didn't have to feel that way again. And ipso facto, nobody else ever had to experience that comes behind you, right? Yeah. So what is it about you that drives you to need to see a problem fixed, find the solution?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know what happened and why.
Mm-hmm.
And that can kind of drive me nuts too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're never going to understand. Like, don't try to get in the mind of a serial killer. You're never going to, there is no answer that you're searching for on why this is happening. But when it's like a mechanism, like, in certain stuff they're working with, in most things, I'd say everything maybe minus the, sociopathic mind, is you can kind of figure out what it is that went wrong or where you can adjust it. And so a lot of the operational stuff, because we'll talk and everybody's having input and conversations going back and forth. And, and obviously we've locked a lot of this stuff down with the action items and putting dates on them. And I'll just do that when I just summarize, what did we just talk about? Like, okay, so what do we got? We had that conversation, I think, where and I find myself where I'm prying and I'm like, I need this answer. I want a clear, concise answer on what you guys are saying the problem is and what you're saying how we're going to fix it. And then when can we fix it by? Because there's a lot of talking. And how many times have we had meetings where we go, cool, we get up and
so we all know what the problems are. We came up with 100 solutions.
Yeah, we realized that nobody was assigned to do this.
Nobody volunteered as tribute.
Yeah, it's the same thing over and over.
Who's going to hold this monkey?
Yeah. So I was kind of prying a bit because I'm trying to let managers manage and stuff like that. So I'm trying not to, micromanage or step on toes to do this. It's like, okay, you got it under control, right? Okay, yes. That's all I wanted to know. I really need to get any further in detail because then it can be kind of annoying and then it might even seem like I'm not paying attention, but I'll be like, speak to me like you would a young child or a golden retriever,
Hey,
like, I don't know what's going on. Just dumb it down as simple as possible. That's usually what I do with recaps and stuff like that. So like, I want to know in its simplest form, what is the nature of the problem? And then how do we fix it? And then what's the timeline that we can do it? And then it makes everything seems seamless after that.
But why? Why does it break your brain so much? I mean, I'm really pressing on that. Why is it? I what I'm capturing is like, you don't want to feel the negative experience for one, and you want to have more energy to make sure you're having fun at your job and in your life. But it does trip your trigger when a mechanism breaks.
Well, because then there's a break in the system where if this isn't working right, we're not going to maximize our potential to make more money and have more fun.
So it really boils down to it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's good. It's good. It's what it is, right? I guess I would have never thought that, as like the main driver. It's like, let's make more money and have more fun. I don't know. You're just unique in that sense, and you always have been. Every time we hit, because you know what it was like when we first started. There was no process. There was no procedure. There's no requirements. There was no X, Y, and Z. It was definitely not a linear, like, model of business where all the mechanisms fall like dominoes in a straight line, and as long as you topple them straight, the end result is, the flag raises or you trap the mouse or whatever the hell the dominoes are falling towards, right? Before it was like we were kind of just winging things. And it never really sat very comfortable with you that there wasn't always a perfect answer and you weren't always getting all the support that you would need when something came up, when you just didn't have the experience or the answer or whatever it was at that point in time. We didn't really have the experience or the answer to give to you.
True. But I mean, a lot of stuff we just kind of figured out even before I was in a position to really, we were always pretty open to input, but still a lot of times guys didn't speak up. We just didn't really say too much. But you would hear stuff. I heard it was an account manager and he's helping somebody with a turn-in. And he goes, this is back when we made the contract worksheets and we filled out the trade and line items and stuff like that. And he'd go, he said, just put it in, something like window screens. The guy just throw it in with the siding. He's like, production manager will catch it. And I overheard, I'm like, no, you will not just catch it. I go, what are you talking about? You're purposely
You're
lazy.
You're hoping somebody has a magnifying glass on your work.
You know that you're turning in dog shit, and you're hoping that somebody will scoop the shit. Like, don't do that.
Just wrap it up in tinfoil and sell it to the queen like Mugatu.
I don't know.
Blue Steel. I just needed a Zoolander reference in there for a second, but okay.
Was that the original one?
Yeah, the original.
Oh man, I gotta go back and watch that.
He's so hot right now. He could shit in tinfoil. He could sell it as earrings to the Queen of England. Yeah,
that's a great one.
Yeah,
but it's like that, all that type of stuff where people aren't seeing the big picture, and I think maybe that's part of it too. Is like understanding. I mean, even when I was starting, I remember. I have all the names. I'm just not dropping anybody's names.
You just said something that I think adds to not just the make more money and have more fun. you've always had a keen eye on what the ripples will do to everybody else.
Yeah.
Right? You've always thought not just about yourself, but about everybody else that's within the system.
I like to do that. I use that
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like confrontation as well,
Mm-hmm.
because then it's an easier conversation to have where, look, you made this mistake and here's the ripples of that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to harp on this problem
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I mean? And just, tear your ass for making this problem. But you see why it's such a big error, and this is what it can turn into. And so this is why we need to fix it, because of here's all the positive stuff that will come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to get people to wrap their heads around that than just, you suck, you fucked up, excuse me, don't do that.
We dropped a few on this.
I know, my mom's going to be like, you're better than that. Sorry, quick sidebar. My mom, I sent that podcast to my mom.
Uh-huh.
Her only comment back was, she goes, I'm so proud of you. She's like, not happy to hear that you passed out in jiu-jitsu. I like choked out, not passed out. It's a big difference. She's like, still not good for your brain. I'm like, okay, thanks, Mom.
That's
Mom
Mom always looking out for you.
Yeah, exactly. But using that stuff, it makes those conversations a lot easier, because then they're back on the company direction, not just the fact that you're getting yelled at or reprimanded or whatever it is. It's like, oh, okay. Then you start to take accountability. It's like, you're not just mad at me for screwing up. We're talking about how I have, I'm better than that. I have more potential than that. And, this is why we can do better. And so using all that stuff.
Blending things I know about you professionally and personally, some of the things are starting to make sense. So you've even said to me in certain situations, you've become like the ultimate host. You're becoming as much of a host as possible, but it's clear that you don't want it to just be make more money and have more fun myself. You want to make sure everybody's having more fun.
Yeah.
So you have an empathetic response. I want everybody all at this party to have fun, or I want everybody at this business to all to have fun. And the only way we can do that is if we realize doing our job the right way will preserve and protect the other people to be able to efficiently do their job simultaneously. So you're
Nice.
let's keep the party going.
Exactly.
I dig it.
Exactly. I don't want the party to stop.
That's awesome. That's really good. All right, so we'll do one more. I think we do have enough time, so we'll go into the last. Well, there are 2 more sections, but I think we'll just stop at leadership and culture. So I'll ask these 3 questions, and then we'll close it up. So, number 1: how do you foster culture and accountability, teamwork, and excellence within operations? Number 2: what advice do you have for new team members about finding their own why and contributing to our mission? Number 3: what's one lesson you've learned about leadership that you think everyone on the team should know?
Money and fun again. Now, a lot of that stuff we're building, like the culture. I've had conversation with guys. I had a conversation with somebody like, "What is it that you want to do?" Well, I want to be a millionaire. Or I was messing with, like, trolling him at first. I was like, well, you should just quit. I was like, why would you want to go out? Like, it's like Dan's like talking. I'm like, you need to do this. When I get here, you're gonna do this. I'm like, nah, man, don't do any of that. I go, just quit. I go, why are you even working? He's like, what? He's like, I can't quit. I'm like, what? What do you mean you can't quit? I go, why? He's like, well, because I want to get my own house. I'm like, oh, you do? Well, like, where do you want to live? And then I just peeled it back. I was like, okay, so why are we even trying to convince you to work? You should be convincing me why you shouldn't quit.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of messing with him. And it's the same. We had meetings where I'll say, like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I want to have frozen pina coladas on the beach. So don't go into this thinking you have to go prospect and make sales. You got to go build gutters and build roofs and manage crew members and enter this data and answer phones. Like, you're not doing all this so that you're going to make your boss and the owner happy, and not even so you just so you can get a paycheck and pay your bills. Like, what is it that you actually want to do and achieve in life and your career? And some people, like you've said, I want to do some good in my community and things like that. And I appreciate that. For me, it's more even just the individual anybody that I interact with, I want to have a positive impression with. So that aspect, it's not, I don't want to sound, again, like pretentious or, fun and money. I go, yeah, but I want to make sure the customers are having fun too.
Yeah.
Everybody that I interact with is having fun. So when I'm doing that stuff with building culture and leadership and stuff like that, where I want to get them and having them find their why.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys, that have families and stuff, I want to provide for my kids and my wife and all that. I go, that's cool. What do you guys? But what else though?
Yeah,
it's like you're gonna upgrade that boat at some point. I know you are, Dan, and I'll be on it. I hope. I've seen some crazy ones out there that are like, like more expensive than everybody's house. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
But that type of thing, like where do you want to get? And people have said, well, I want to be comfortable. I'm like, like why? You're never really going to be that, I don't think. But aspiring to have these things where I don't know, making sure your kids have new soccer cleats or being able to enter them in the club sport that they want to do. Maybe you buy that lifetime membership at the next jiu-jitsu academy you go to, and stuff like that. So peeling it back, because people will come to work with kind of just the wrong, or at least distorted view of why they're here.
Sure.
And so think about it that way. And then as far as instilling the leadership, it's the same. It's the same thing. When I try to pass down, a lot of times people don't even really know that I'm doing it. I'll talk to another manager about, hey, and I said this the other day, is that, do you think that your guys, the guys that you manage, if they got offered another job at a higher pay, would they take the job? And of course I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, well, why is that? And keep doing that. And so when I'm talking about management, they don't realize that I'm kind of playing the same game with them too. Not that's the game, but it's the adult learning thing.
You're playing 4D chess.
Yeah. Well, everybody's onto it.
Yeah.
They go, oh, God, don't try to adult learn me right now. And I'm like, I can't help it, because I'm like, that's all I got.
Yeah.
I can't talk to you about the technical aspects of construction, because that's your expertise. But I'm going to talk to you about how you can get your other professionals or your team members to help you be the most efficient at your job. And it's just that you're kind of bullshitting a little bit.
You're having fun.
You're having fun.
You're having fun while you're making money. Yeah. No, you really nailed it with that answer, because your leadership style is to find whys and align the whys with the work requirements. It's like, so if you want to buy the $600,000 boat, okay. If that's the pinnacle that you made it in your life, if you have the $600,000 boat, how do we get there? Okay. Yeah. So you need to do X, Y, and Z. Let's set out milestones. Let's set out requirements for ourselves. Let's set up disciplinary measures to get there efficiently, so we can spend that money and have that fun on that boat. Yeah. You're already on the why. Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Was there anything else that you want to give to the viewers, the community that'll engage and listen to you?
Well, I'm sad to say that No Code Jiu-Jitsu shut down after I plugged it last time I was on here. But I don't know. My friend Troy is opening his own academy in Greeley. I think it's going to be Hegan Machado Jiu-Jitsu of Northern Colorado. Okay. So he's got a space. He's doing. Got the mats ready. He should be taking memberships soon. I'm moving to Longmont at the end of the month. I'll probably will just pop over there every now and then. I'll probably end up at Dark Horse. Yeah. I think so. I'm doing a drop-in class over at Catalyst on Tuesday because it's been like 8 weeks since I have trained. Yeah. So I feel like I got to get one.
Got to roll around a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see how that goes. I got to see how rusty I am. Yeah. But yeah, still in the jiu-jitsu game, so I still want to keep promoting that stuff. I'll maybe I'll get you someday. He's a nerd.
Yeah. Well, Catalyst, if you end up doing something with that, that's easier for me to get to. Yeah. So you want to be a nerd assassin?
Yeah, that's the fun stuff.
He's not your typical jiu-jitsu guy, because he come in there definitely not a nerd. He's a yoked out meat fool.
Well, you gotta walk in there kind of like lower your posture. You don't want to come in there cocky, because somebody will humble you real quick.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen.
Somebody half your size wearing Harry Potter glasses is gonna turn you into a fucking noodle.
And they will do that. You just don't really want to give them added motivation to kick your ass. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're gonna kick your ass. Just don't give them.
Don't want
any extra emphasis.
Don't have them at
Yeah.
100 RPMs.
Yeah, especially me like
check it
walking
down a little bit. Yeah.
walking into a trial class. Like, I'm like contemplating, do I wear my blue belt or do I wear my white
do the
belt?
Conor McGregor walk
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Like, who's your instructor? Like, who owns this gym? Yeah, don't do that.
All right. So, well, crew is going to be learning how to become more and more lethal and become more and more efficient, so you can have more and more fun and make more and more money. So,
That's it.
we're you know what you want, and you know how you're going to get there. So, appreciate having you on. This was probably the most fun conversation of all of them. They've all been good, but this one was cool. So,
Yeah.
excellent work today. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Into the Lion's Den. We appreciate all the responses that we've got. If you have any questions or concerns or you'd like to be on an episode, please drop a line in the comments below. Like, subscribe, engage. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Later. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Into the Lion's Den. We appreciate your time, and we hope that you've gathered enough ammunition to go out, fight the good fight, and become a better person every single day. Please like and subscribe, engage in our content, ask us some questions. We'd love to tailor fit the next episode to you.